Excerpts from various addresses given by Pope Saint Pius X. Quote, "This is why, when we love the Pope, we do not dispute whether he commands or requires a thing, or seek to know where the strict obligation of obedience lies, or in what matter we must obey. When we love the Pope, we do not say that he has not yet spoken clearly, as if he were required to speak his will in every man's ear, and to utter it not only by word of mouth, but in letters and other public documents as well. Nor do we cast doubt on his orders, alleging the pretext which comes easily to the man who does not want to obey, that it is not the Pope who is commanding, but someone in his entourage. We do not limit the field in which he can and ought to exercise his authority. We do not oppose to the Pope's authority that of other persons, no matter how learned, who differ from the Pope. For whatever may be their learning, they are not holy. For where there is holiness, there cannot be disagreement with the Pope." Given in 1912, November, Address to the Priests of the Apostolic Union. Quote, "I recommend to you only to remain strong in your determination to be loyal sons of the Church of Jesus Christ, at a time when there are so many who, perhaps without knowing it, have shown themselves disloyal. For the first and greatest criterion of the faith, the ultimate and unassailable test of orthodoxy, is obedience to the teaching authority of the Church, which is ever living and infallible, since she was established by Christ to be the columna et firmamentum veritatis, the pillar and support of truth." See 1 Timothy 3, verse 15. Jesus Christ, who knew our weakness, who came into the world to preach the gospel to the poor above all, chose for the spread of Christianity a very simple means adapted to the capacity of all men and suited to every age. A means which required neither learning, nor research, nor culture, nor rationalization, but only willing ears to hear and simplicity of heart to obey. This is why St. Paul says, "Fides ex auditu," Romans 10, verse 17. Faith comes not by sight, but by hearing, from the living authority of the Church, a visible society composed of masters and disciples, of rulers and of governed, of shepherds and sheep and lambs. Jesus Christ himself has laid on his disciples the duty of hearing the instructions of their masters, on subjects of living in submission to the dictates of rulers, on sheep and lambs of following with docility in the footsteps of their shepherds. And to shepherds, to rulers, and to teachers, he has said, "Docete omnes gentes, spiritus veritatis docebit, vos omnem veritatem, ecce ego vobiscum sum usque ad consummationem seculi." Matthew 28, verses 19 through 20. "Going, teach ye all nations. The Spirit of truth will teach you all truth. And behold, I am with you all days, even to the consummation of the world." From these facts, you can see how far astray are those Catholics who, in the name of historical and philosophical criticism, and that tendentious spirit which has invaded every field, put in the foremost rank the religious question itself, insinuating that by study and research we should form a religious conscience in harmony with our times, or, as they say, modern. And so, with a system of sophisms and errors, they falsify the concept of obedience inculcated by the Church. They arrogate to themselves the right of judging the actions of authority, even to the extent of ridiculing them. They attribute to themselves a mission to impose a reform, a mission which they have received neither from God nor from any authority. They limit obedience to purely exterior actions, even if they do not resist authority or rebel against it, opposing the faulty judgment of some individual without any real competence, or of their own inner conscience deceived by vain subtleties, to the judgment and commandment of the one, who by divine mandate is their lawful judge, master, and shepherd. Oh, my dear young men, listen to the words of him who truly wishes you well. Do not let yourselves be seduced by mere outward show, but be strong to resist illusions and flatteries, and you will be saved. But the official Church, they say, wants ignorance, impedes the development of religious studies, and intolerable discipline imposes silence. No, dear students, the Church representing Jesus Christ continually preaches those same words he addressed to the Jews. "Mea doctrina non est mea, sed eius qui misit me." My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. And he added, Si quis voluerit voluntatem eius facere, cognoscet de doctrina utrum ex Deus sit, an ego a me ipso loquar. If any man will do the will of him, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of God or whether I speak of myself. John 7, verses 16 through 17. That is why the Church has always honored not only the early fathers and doctors, but also the writers of every age who have studied and published works to spread the truth, to defend it against the attacks of unbelievers, and to throw into relief the absolute harmony which exists between faith and reason. Do not let yourselves be deceived by the subtle declarations of others who do not cease to pretend that they wish to be with the Church, to love the Church, to fight for her, so that she will not lose the masses, to work for the Church so that she will come to understand the times, and so to win back the people and attach them to herself. Judge these men according to their works. If they maltreat and despise the ministers of the Church and even the Pope, if they try by every means to minimize their authority, to evade their direction, and to disregard their counsels, if they do not fear to raise the standard of rebellion, what church are these men speaking about? Not certainly of that church established super fundamentum apostolorum et prophetarum, ipso summo angulari lapide Christo Jesus, upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Jesus Christ himself being the chief cornerstone, Ephesians 2, verse 20. So we must have ever before our mind's eye that counsel of St. Paul to the Galatians, if we ourselves, or if an angel should teach you any other gospel than that which we have taught you, let him be anathema. Galatians 1, verse 8. Given in an Address Con Vera Soddisfazione, May 10, 1909. Translation taken from Papal Teachings, the Church.